Japan was very exciting. And yeah, I was standing in a line with ABBA. At the time, I didn't know it. I should have got my photo taken with them, really, shouldn't I?
When he got back to New Zealand, a new skill was required. As the warm-up act for big overseas stars, David had to actually face his audience.
I remember the first time Leo Sayo, I was in Invercargill, I was so scared. I went out by myself with just the guitar and 2,000 or 3,000 people, and my leg was shaking right through my 20-minute set, you know, and Christchurch, I think, was the next, no, Dunedin was the next one, and my leg only shook for like about 4 songs, Christchurch 3 songs, and by the time I got to Auckland, you know...
There wasn't a whole lot of shaking going on. Were you cool or uncool, or a bit of both?
I was probably very uncool, and I probably still am.
But it was pretty cool that David was a good enough cricketer to play at first-class level. That eradicated any potential wuss tag.
It was my saving grace, and it was very important. It still is. And so I could almost impose my normality as not a freak by being reasonably good at sport generally, but particularly cricket, yeah.
Oh, wheel of fortune.
Which is lucky, because when his voice broke, everything changed.
Because suddenly I wasn't unique anymore. I was just competing with every other male singer in New Zealand with a voice that was not as unique as it was before.
Oh, Susanna.
These days, David continues to earn a living from music and shares the love of it with his boys.
I come from Alabama with my band.
It was the birth of his 3rd son that changed his and wife Pauline's world all over again.
Jesse was very ill when he was born. He was born blind, and he had epilepsy, and he still does, and he's delayed in his development. We wondered whether he was going to live or not, and so I think anyone that's faced with that sort of trouble, you reevaluate your your existence, your values and things, and so it made us, it turned us into committed Christians.
It's turning, I'll be ever yearning.
Would you do anything differently, looking back?
Probably not. After I toured the Irish Rovers, I was asked to sing at their pub, and I turned that down and said, no, I'm off to London, so I was out of work in London for 6 months when I could have been singing at the Irish Rovers pub.
Please let it be now.
A young man who's done very well in the New Zealand pop scene. He's a star of radio, of television, of records, of cabaret. And here he is, Steve Allen with Villa Katrina.
It was the era of that fashion tragedy, the wide lapel.
Well, they might have been cool then. I don't think they'd be considered to be cool now.
In 1974, Steve Allen's name entered every household when he sang the theme for the Christchurch Commonwealth Games.
Once in every 4 years, the Commonwealth becomes a unit to which everyone from anywhere belongs.
I think people took a lot of pride in the games when they were here. That was sort of like quite a special sort of event, and it was nice to be part of that, and I think it's nice to remember for something to do with that.
In our minds, we can go anywhere that we want to, but there's one place if you...
But before Steve Allen was Alan Stevenson with the band Lost Souls, and his first crack at recording.
We were a very good vocal group in those days, and in fact, as the Lost Souls, along with the Yandell sisters, who were a group of girls from Auckland, we did the backing vocals on Lee Grant's first album.
Mrs. Gillicuddy, school teaching at the school.
Alan Stevenson became Stevie Allen, and then Steve Allen. The names kept changing, and so did the towns. It was a life on the road.
It was fun, but it was still hard yakka. I remember going to Nelson once. I used to have music charts, like most of us did, and I sort of handed these over to the band, and they said, well, we don't read music and we only play in 2 keys. So it was, oh, good. So that had a fair bit to do with the type of songs that we sang. So instead of doing my normal show, it was 17 choruses of When the Saints Go Marching in B flat, because that's all they could play.
Saw his lady kiss another guy. He said, I don't know why he's waiting there.
I don't write songs anymore, but I still do a bit of performing. I like to sing. I still can sort of, kind of, almost, maybe. But I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it, you know.
Alan now lives by the beach in Napier, and he's selling real estate after many years of running a bookshop in Te Puke. Even though music isn't his day job these days, he just can't quite seem to give it up altogether.
I think people like to sing, because you think about when people sing, you know, when they're going home from rugby matches and buses and the All Blacks have just won. They sing because they feel good. It's an emotional release. I'd say to anybody that, you know, hey, I think if you've got a dream and it's possible to do it, I think you've got to do it.